Hello, and welcome back to Tyranny. Last time, we got our character set up, we got all of our spells set up, and we have begun to put down a rebellion. We also met up with a Scarlet Fury by the name of Verse, who is quite the feisty character, if I say so myself. And we're going to go and talk to the Archons here. And it looks like these two gents are having a bit of an argument. So let's go talk to Drastos. Drastos. The prisoner says his name is Tarkius Demos. Drastos lets out a long sigh, tapping his gauntleted finger to his temple. Then I don't think this is a complicated matter. He dies. His family's been a driving force in the Vendrian Guard. Killing him should demoralize whatever's left of the Tarkus clan. Mocking Blaze. All must be given a chance to... The chorus mage falls short as her eyes widen at the recognition on her face. You? Have you come to once again deny us our right? How do you expect us to fight if we are denied the right to claim new blood? We'd let you take prisoners, but you can't control them. You send these conscripts out on patrol, and they never return, defecting all over again. I cannot let this nonsense strategy continue. Well, I insist this Oathbreaker be taken to the voices of Nerat, leaving us at an impasse. Fortunately, we have a Fatebinder here to settle the matter for us. The Chancer turns to you, an expectant smile creeping across her face. So, what say you? What should become of this prisoner? Execute the Oathbreaker. One chance to surrender is enough. The Tearsmen cannot be trusted. Rakes, thieves, and whores. Nothing more. We are far too merciful the first time. Drastos nods to a nearby warrior. Have this one tied up. He and his friends can watch each other rot in the sun. I won't keep you here any longer, Fatebinder. I know you have important business in the valley. Drastos salutes you, his iron gauntlet rapping against his breastplate. For the glory of Kairos.
Right.
Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Nobody else worth talking to, so I will go and talk to him, and I will end his life now. He deserves it. You there? Muttering through a mouthful of congealed blood, Tarkius Demos hangs upon his stake. End this. I beg you. You've suffered enough. Request is granted. You plunge your weapon into his heart, ending his life with one quick thrust. Already back to the brutality. And senseless. Ooh, there's some stuff. Hello, what's going on here? Hail, Fatebinder. The disfavored scout nods at your approach. Kemp's up on ahead. Don't mind us, just clearing out the rabble. I still don't understand what I've done to offend. I respect that these are now disfavored lands, and I'm happy to give the Legion a proper toll, but she's going on about trading rights. What nonsense is that? Am I not allowed to trade one thing for another? It's not like I'm selling weapons to angry peasants or anything of the sort. The Overlord regulates all trade. If you lack the proper permits, your goods are forfeit. A trade permit? Well, how was I mean, to whom should I speak to for such a thing? Not us, and not our problem. Maybe march your butt on to the bastard city and plead your case before Tunon. But we'll lighten your burden and relieve you of your wares first. That should make the long trek a bit more bearable. Anything argued before Tunon may be argued before me.
What's there to discuss? We should kill this mongrel and...
The warrior pauses, placing her hand in front of her mouth.
If the Fatebinder wishes to weigh in on the matter, courtesy demands we listen.
The soldier clears her throat, looking at you expectantly.
This is a disfavored matter, but I know the agents of the court do so love to throw their judgments around.
Well, you could rob me now and have my supplies today. The merchant grabs a flask from his cart. Or you can leave me alive and have this fermented honey all year long. I even know a few family recipes for painkillers and healing draughts. Surely any army will be of need of those. He uncorks a small ceramic vial, the aroma of cloves and lanolin in his soldier's throat. What a coincidence. Your family recipe for wound paste smells just like the Scarlet Fury's own concoction. Where did you steal this?
Well, I don't... The merchant tenses up, his face flushing red. I don't know what you're getting at.
Pick him up by the collar. How stupid do you think I am?
Slow down, I'll tell you everything. Just don't hurt me. I found most everything out there in the forest of the valley. I keep my head low when I heard the sounds of combat. Then I take a look and grab whatever wasn't claimed by the first victors. So you stole from the disfavored dead. How else did you get your hands on that iron?
The scout points to the merchant's cart.
You would come here and sell us our own armaments? Well, if anything has an owner, I will return it, but this iron would have turned to rust if left in the middle of a battlefield. The disfavored are few in number, is that not right? You need a man like me to gather up the supplies that would otherwise go to waste.
I need to get my normal voice back from doing those two accents. The disfavored will tolerate your presence, but you will pay them handsomely for such a charity.
We will?
The disfavored soldier clears her throat with a
We will?
Before repeating herself in a more upbeat manner. We will.
It sickens me to make exceptions for this vulture, but if you supply the disfavored without profit, perhaps this indiscretion is for the best. It's not like our larders are overflowing. A work slave to scrounge provisions would be an asset. Thank you for interceding on my behalf. I know that my life will now depend upon showing the disfavored due gratitude for suffering my presence. If I must grovel a bit to earn my daily grain, well, so be it.
Ta-da! Slow down a moment. I know we're both eager to watch the Archons bicker over tactics like a pair of magpies, but I need to ask you something first. What's that? That's Barrick. Whatever.
The voices in Narat told me that you've come as a mediator. Considering the source, well, I can't help but feel that I'm only hearing half the story, so let's hear it out. What's so special about you?
What else has the voices of Narat told you?
Only that I could find you at Edring Ruins. Truthfully, I could have picked you out of a crowd. You're the only one of us here that hasn't spent the last few months bathing in the stink of the Matini River. I'm here to deliver an edict from Kairos. That makes a crazy kind of sense. Considering how long the siege has taxed the armies, I can understand why Kairos would send you with an edict to speed things along. Have you read it? Do you even know what it says? The Archons must claim Ascension Hall by Kairos' Day of Swords, or all will perish. Well, one more thing for the Archons to fight over. Thanks for cluing me in. If Kairos sends any lightning our way, just tell me when to duck.
Did the voices of Narat also ask you to spy on me? At a loss for words, Verse regards you with a momentary unease.
Well, are you even surprised? He is the Archon of Secrets. Knowing in advance his business is his business. So is snatching up any advantage over Graven Ash. Those two compete like a couple of new recruits for a spot around the fire. It's nothing nefarious. The Voices is just curious as to why you're here. If he wanted to know more, you wouldn't be able to suss it out that easily. He would have sent one of his scarier peons in my stead.
Why so suspicious?
It's just a feeling I got. When the Archons are together, the air is as taut as a bowstring. I can't help but think that no small amount of compromise will get them seeing eye to eye. So, why invite a mediator from Tunan's court? It just doesn't add up. Why do you think the Archons are at odds? Well, I've been with the Scarlet Chorus since the early days of the Conquest, so I can say it's been building for a few years now. There's an energy about those two, like a pair of storms moving to collide. I heard tell that Graven Ash and the Voices in Arat shared some bad blood in the Northern Empire, but I don't know any of the particulars. That's absurd. Now, I'll do... By my authority, the Archons will fall in line. That sounds like exactly the attitude this campaign needs. I don't envy you the task of getting them to cooperate, which sounds just about easy as teaching a tornado to heal. At least you sound like you know what you're doing. Well, I ought to be meeting with them. The war tent is just past the center of the camp, and she nods to the northeast. One last thing. Be careful around those disfavored types. They take their work very seriously, and most have suffered one too many blows to the head.
Will do.
Come eastward, Fatebinder. I have wares of a quality to match your mighty esteem. A heavy-set man draped in fine linens beckons you forward with an assured wave. An expression of curiosity on his face quickly blossoms into an unrestrained excitement. Finally, a customer worthy of my services. His entire body perks up as he quickly scans the gear in your possession, nodding fervently in approval. You have the air of one who has experienced enough for multiple lifetimes. Exactly the sort of person I seek. I carry a bevy of curiosities from across the tiers, rare and exotic treasures only the seasoned traveler can truly appreciate. What say you, Fatebinder? Care to see what I've hauled into this valley? Oh, I mean, why not? But of course, you will not be disappointed. And I don't think I will. I got all my money. All my money. I do like the shield, but I need the shield with the sword, so... Boring part where I sell stuff. Do 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 do. And I go to buy weapons that will be super awesome. The thing is, the weapon I have already does piercing and slashing, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it does. So I need a weapon that deals, yeah, I'll take Tenderizer. I'll buy Tenderizer from you. That's parry 8, endurance 4. And I'll also take Stubborn Aegis. And I'll sell that one. That seems like a fair trade. Now, armor. Nothing really all that great here. I mean, there's bronze bulwark. I'll increase my parry. I'll buy the bronze bulwark. And I will buy the hardy headgear. But I think that's it. Oh, wait, this is spell reflection, so yes. Cool. That's what I will buy from you, and let me equip my brand new gear. There we go. Alright. Let's go talk to these two chumps.
You have arrived at last. The disfavored warrior turns to the other guard. This isn't just any Fatebinder. This is the Stormcaller. Ethan Drake fought with us all the way back to the gates of judgment. Served on the front lines, saw it with me own eyes. The guard looks back at you, nodding slowly. We're honored Tunon sent you.
Graven Ash protects. I will salute.
It's an honor to have you in camp, Fatebinder. Sorry in advance for all the arguments your presence will bring out. Hopefully, it won't be like back in Starwood with the chorus trying to claim our work slaves just because they can't win a battle without crippling losses.
Fatebinder, I think this misguided little shit just insulted my brothers and sisters. In my book, that's a dispute between the armies. Are you gonna stand for that? Are you going to apologize? He glances between you in verse, then straightens and exhales with a hard breath.
Wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of a Scarlet Fury, especially when she's got the court on her side. My apologies, ma'am.
Your sincerity needs work. Tonight, I want you going to sleep thinking about what a little piece of shit you are, and you'd better wake up thinking it as well. Am I clear? The guard stampers in a half-formed, uncertain answer. Enough of this. Let us through.
Go on in. The soldier gestures towards the gate. The Archons are expecting you. You'll find them in the war tent, center of camp.
That hurts. In a weird way, because, like, normally they kind of, like, irritate the throat, but that's, like, the diaphragm in the lungs, because I, like, am artificially making that way deeper than it normally is. But whatever. This is my normal voice right now, so. I'll talk to this guy.
Hail to you, guardian of the law. A man dressed in merchant finery greets you with a smile. If you have a few excessive rings weighing you down, best unburden yourself before battle. You do know that if the disfavored suffer a merchant in their camp, that man must be selling only the finest provisions and armaments. He points to his collection of shields, rations, satchels, wineskins, and other sundries. Take a look and see if something interests you. That's just a merchant, so. That's bad, because that sucks too, because that's such a good voice. I have to repeat that one, because that's a good one. That's a really good one. What am I gonna make this guy sound like? Alright. Isotenius curses the air as a blade of thin iron breaks in half beneath his hammer. Repairing weapons with scrap isn't exactly why I got into this craft, but our supplies are spent. He wipes the sweat from his brow and gets a better look at you. Why not force bronze? Bronze will do in a pinch, don't get me wrong. It can take a beating and get bent back into shape, unlike this stubborn iron we've got here. He glances at a pile of his work with dread. And we will always have plenty of tin and copper laying around, so supplies aren't the problem. It's a rare smith who can churn out military-grade bronze consistently. More often than not, it comes out soft. Look around the camp. We're garbing the Legion head to toe in iron because it's cheaper and easier to produce for the masses. Couldn't do that with bronze. They call the disfavored the Iron Legion for a reason. Strategy and skill may be our backbone, but our claws are made of iron. The good stuff that comes from the smiths in Lethian's Crossing. You mentioned an iron shortage? I'm afraid so. The last shipment sent down from Matini went missing near Alcohol Crossing, and I'm afraid we won't be seeing any more now that the valley is sealed. Forge-bound iron is Tunon's responsibility. Why is this the first I'm hearing of it? Keep your voice down. Isotenius flinches and lowers his own. Graven Ash doesn't want to cause a panic or pass any information to the Vendrian Guard. Best case scenario, the iron tumbled off a boat and is rusting in a riverbed. Worst case, it ends up in enemy hands.
If I find myself in Echo Call, I suppose I will keep an eye out.
I appreciate that, as does the great general. More than you might guess. Maybe he isn't quick to offer his thanks to outsiders, but I know he'll be grateful for your help. It would be a boon to the war effort if our iron was recovered.
You can trust me to handle this.
I knew that Tunon would not have dispatched you without good reason. The court isn't exactly known for gambling when the stakes are high.
No, they're not. Tunon is, quite thorough. He glances to a crate beside him and points to a small set of notches in the wood.
You see that? That is how we tell our iron shipments apart from the rest. Inconspicuous, so people don't go snooping around. You want to keep an eye out for these. Good hunting. Need something else?
Nope. Da 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 da. Somebody lost the iron, and I have to go and find it. Meanwhile, luck to these two guys. I'm Lucia, and this is Marcus. The disfavored soldier points to the armored man next to her. And you must be the Fatebinder. From under an helmet, you hear an audible scoff.
We've been assigned to babies.
Assigned? Oh, that was her, sorry. We've been assigned to babies.
Assigned to your hospitality, Marcus quickly interjects, while you remain on disfavored ground. If you should need a place to rest, we can make the necessary preparations. What can we do for you?
Marcus, tell me about yourself.
Not sure there's much to tell you. I was trained at Fort Resolution. This is my first campaign, and I'm proud to be with the Legion. I was wounded at the Gates of Judgment, but Graven Ash's protection mended me good. I owe my life to him.
Are you bragging about that time you let your guard down and took a spear to the gut? You really shouldn't boast about a filthy tearsman besting you in battle. Lucia rolls her eyes.
You're just bitter that Lord Ash never seems to notice you. In all seriousness, I would take that spear again if it brought honor to the disfavored. Kairos knows we could use it. We are the elite fighters of the Northern Army, but somehow we still lack the Overlord's confidence.
Lucia, tell me about yourself. I do this. She unenthusiastically lifts up her heavy shield. And I do this. She mockingly stabs at the air with her shield. Lucia shrugs. Playing host is not my strong suit. Ignore my sarcasm. I've seen the Legion through my share of campaigns. After so much bloodshed, our pretenses of honor can wear me down. She turns a cautious eye your way. The North is my home, and I consider each and every one of the ironclad bastards in this camp to be my family. You won't find another army where each member of the Phalanx is beloved and cherished as the next. You seem handy with a weapon. Aye, and if you ever want some pointers on how to use that weapon of yours, just let me know. And she winks.
Lucia, are you flirting with Tunon's Fatebinder?
Relax, Marcus. There are plenty of camp slaves if I ever need to scratch an itch. Although, through the visors of her helmet, you notice her eyes roving up and down your body. If you ever need somebody to warm your bedroll, let me know. I sleep in my armor. Hope you don't mind. How have your skills fared in battle against the Oathbreakers, Marcus?
Every battle is a reminder of the Legion's superiority. The Oathbreakers have plenty of heart, but nothing to beat our northern values and Graven Ash's love. If you ever want to enjoy that feeling, I can spare you the time of day to cross iron.
What's it like serving with the disfavored?
In spite of our name, the Legion commands more honor than any military on the face of Tyratus. Unlike the Chorus, there is tradition, discipline, teamwork, and a unity of purpose.
He looks across the camp.
There aren't many of us, but it's better that way. We're a tightly knit family bound together by trust and glory.
Accurate enough, Lucia shrugs. After seeing the disunity and bickering of the Younger Realm's defenders, I feel lucky to be in a more agreeable Legion of Kairos' host, even if we're not always the most efficient. If the Legion boasts so much honor, why are they disfavored?
I'm afraid that isn't for me to say. Others around camp might be able to tell you more, but I don't freely discuss
the Great General's history to outsiders. But you'll say it involves the Great General, which is always telling a clue, idiot.
Drat.
At least the Iron Marshal isn't within earshot, or I'd be washing my mouth out with wormwood. And it's just trainings for the rest of them. So, let's
Can't
go
do that.
and meet
Sorry,
the Archons. Yesterday you chid me for wishing to wait, and now you suggest an even longer delay. Perhaps the voices in your skull ought to come up with a consensus if you wish to be taken seriously. Good advice is flexible, changing with the moment. Besides, now we're agreeing. He talks too fast. I can't read it. I can't read it fast enough. No. His accent, I need to read slowly to make it sound menacing. Well, you guys read the text that they're talking about, because eventually they'll notice I'm here. So, if you caught all that, post that in the comments, because I want to be able to read that. Anyway, now time for our meeting.
That's 4 reports of avalanches in the mountains now. The Tiersmen can barely count past 9. They have neither the capacity nor the cause to close off the mountain passes. Either way, that leaves the 2nd and 4th cohort trapped outside the valley.
The Archon of War pounds his staff on the ground to punctuate his words. A large and imposing man to begin with, his profile is made larger still by his hulking suit of armor that hums with mystic energy.
Or it's the work of your perfidious Earthshakers. Only a fool would not suspect a traitorous Archon of poisoning the mind of his students with sedition. We would have killed the Earthshakers Guild for their master's treachery, but I'm sure you have some perfectly valid reason for allowing them to live as your pawns.
The Archon of Secrets passes a scepter between his hands as he speaks, twirling the rod in hypnotic circles. You hear a voice echoing in your mind. Well, hello there, Fatefinder. We'll be with you in just a moment. Emerald luminescence seeps from the seams of the Archon's ragged red robes. The glow is most noticeable where his neck ought to be. His mask seems to float and spin, never pivoting or bending naturally.
Hey, watch yourself. When these two get going, you don't want to get between them.
Verse whispers fearfully as she beholds the Archons.
I always know you've run out of things to say when you resort to mocking my vassals. If we are to speak of treachery, why is it that my scouts see the Scarlet Chorus warriors defecting back to the Vendrian Guard? Your fearsome reputation has gone flaccid, for it seems you cannot control your soldiers, or perhaps you simply choose not to.
My lords, the Fatebinder has arrived. The disfavored commander raises her voice, trying to, with little success, to speak over the Archons. Perhaps we should table this discussion and let our guest speak.
Speaking of strategic failures, who was it that insisted the valley would need only a token garrison? For some strange reason, we can't seem to recall which balding halfwit grossly underestimated the enemy. Thoughts?
The Archon of Secrets twirls his scepter in a twisting loop, his leather-wrapped hands flipping the heavy rod with effortless flow. Can you hear us, Fatebinder? Cough if we have your attention. Cough audibly.
And I thought you had left agents within these Tiersmen when they surrendered. Either you failed to see this coming, or you knew and let it happen. Incompetent or in cahoots, either way, this mess has your filthy stink all over it.
The Archon of War lurches forward, resting his weight on his war maul as blue luminescence crackles around his armor.
We look forward to seeing you explain to Tunon why the Archon of War could not close the vice on this trivial little insurgency. When we are crowned the ruler of the Tiers, we shall have this place renamed to Ash's Folly in your honor.
The voices of Narat tosses his scepter into the air, catching it as it descends back down. Good, good. Now pay attention. You might just miss something.
If I could trust the information I get from you and your conscripted mouth breathers, perhaps I'd order my cohorts around a bit more aggressively. But last time I trusted your all-clear report, my troops failed to come home.
Oh, Ash, old boy.
I was about to speak
If you're
over
going
him.
to have a little sob every time one of your nieces or nephews dies to the tearsman, perhaps we should have Siren sing you some calming lullabies to help you cope with your grief.
The Archon flips his scepter 3 times around, humming gleefully. Take care that you don't learn too much, Fatebinder. An excess of knowledge, of curiosity even, can earn unwanted attentions. Hold your tongue. I will not have your degenerate... You denigrate? Denigrate? That's a new word. I'll have to look that up. I'm assuming it means sully. I will not have you denigrate the honor of our fallen brethren. The commander's hand moves to the hilt of her blade, though the weapon stays sheathed. I'll be doing us all a favor if I cracked open that excuse for a head. They bicker like children, do they not? The fifth eye's grating tenor pierces. A grating tenor? Nah, maybe not be doing his voice right. Whatever. Pierces the tension in the tent, all eyes landing on the crimson spear. I, meant only to say welcome. Welcome to our guest, the Fatebinder. The Ebon Retainer bows with rust and elegance, then rises to a salute. And not a moment too soon.
Did I give you permission to speak?
The Archon of War turns to you, his blue eyes wide with anger. The enemy portraits you've seen depict Raven Ashes with a stern, unamused countenance. He is even more taciturn in the flesh. Bow to the Archons. Apologies for the sudden entrance, but I have traveled long to be here. Kairos is unamused with your, well, bickering, to say the least.
Stormcaller, it is an honor to have you with us. I would imagine you are here with another of Kairos' edicts. Perhaps another catastrophe that will punish our foes for hiding behind their walls? My soldiers tell me you helped Commander Drotus on your way through Edring. You honor the court with your selfless cooperation, for that is the sort of camaraderie that Kairos demands of us all.
On the last of his words, the Archon of War glares at the voices of Narat, furrowing his brow as he utters the word camaraderie. I come bearing an edict of Kairos.
It seemed only yesterday you were proving your worth in battle, assisting my warriors in the siege of the bastard city. Now Kairos has chosen you for a second time to proclaim an edict. Tell us, good Fatebinder, what sort of punishment does the Overlord have in store for the Oathbreakers?
It seems you need some encouragement to work together. Kairos' edict will end the lives of everyone in this valley unless Ascension Hall is proclaimed by Kairos' Day of Swords. Thus proclaimeth the Stormcaller, Ethan Drake, in the name of Kairos. Thus the edict be proclaimed. The earth sways with each word you utter, air thickening with warmth as you pronounce the tersely phrased commandment, its every syllable drafted by the hand of Kairos. With the edict proclaimed, your pulse quickens, and the muscles in your legs, worn from a long trip down the mountains, feels renewed. Tired limbs, now nearly buoyant with vigor.
The Overlord means to compel us into action. No doubt the avalanches in the mountains are part of this ultimatum. We must conquer the Oathbreakers or die in failure. There is no room for error, and no other way out of this valley alive. We'll need to advance across the Matani. We lose everything if we stand still.
Oh, it's
And
pronounced
we move to
whatever.
back up Plan Green. The Earthshakers didn't make it over the mountain in time, so we do this the hard way. Over the walls instead of through.
The Archon of War taps a finger against his temple. A low rumble escapes from under his beard.
So, you found your backbone at last! Oh, we were worried past humiliations would make you soft. timid. That was a record for you, right? The baker's dozen lost in one sortie. If you had waited for the chorus reinforcements, maybe we'd have eyes and ears on the matter.
The Archon of Secrets passes his scepter from one hand to the next, chuckling softly with each toss. Watch him squirm. So many tears over replaceable, expendable, useless soldiers. I miss the old Archon of War. You'd never see Blood Echo in a blubbering mess over a few dead killers. He'd used the knuckle bones of his best disciples for the jewelry, and even made a breastplate out of his dead brother's rib cage, because that's how a real man deals with grief. They call you the Archon of Secrets, but you certainly don't seem to know anything remotely useful.
I second the Fate Binder. Thought you had the memories of one of those Oathbreakers rattling about that bronze gourd of yours. Would Kairos' mighty spy master please enlighten this gathering of allies with some scrap of strategic insight?
The Archon of Secrets turns his head to the side, until the face of his mask is turned around and a new facet of the mask prevents itself as facing forward. When the next Archon speaks, the trembling voice of a younger man can be heard.
Our river was to be the bulwark, but with the Tidecasters slain, what hope remains? It's so cold in here. Help me, please.
The Archon turns his head far to the side, until the previous facets of his mask now looks forward.
Our sources tell us the Oathbreakers had some sort of magical trick in store. But this knowledge is tinged with fear, trepidation. If we make a move for the Mitanni, we suspect the Oathbreakers will mount a counterattack that is equal parts valiant and futile.
I know that voice. Mitanni Genev of the Vendrian Guard.
Good ear, young Fatebinder. When the Vendrian Guard surrendered, Mitanni Yanev had the audacity to demand an audience. Being the gracious Archon we are, we obliged. What the good captain knew, we now know.
Then enough talking. There's work to be done. My lord, Beric and his band... Is Iron Marshal male or female? I can't tell. Female, okay. That armor is really practical, so it's kind of hard to tell. I got it right the first time, and then with all this other chaos, I forgot. My lord, Beric and his band have been drilled on the Echo Hall assault plan. The Crescent Runners should be briefing him as we speak regarding the latest enemy movements along the river. I will dispatch him at once. The Iron Marshal salutes, clapping her gauntlet to her breastplate. And I will ensure that the chorus stands ready to march. If the disfavored take the river, well then the chorus has the manpower to secure the outer ring of the valley. Yes. I'm making him a bumbling idiot because his first introduction was a bumbling idiot.
Our soldiers clamor for battle, and at last we shall have it. Verse, we command you to continue guarding the Fatebinder. Tunon's chosen is our honored guest, and must be shown our finest hospitality.
Ooh, I don't like that enunciation.
I won't let you down, boss. He'll get through the campaign in one piece, as long as he doesn't do anything too stupid.
And before we forget, we have a debt to settle. Last year, when our warriors got confused about supply lines, so kind of you to understand how things get muddled in the fog of war.
The Archon of Secrets tosses several iron rings your way as he begins to leave. He taps the fifth eye on the shoulder, and with one last twirl of his scepter, he departs with his underling. Suit yourself! Voice hurts. Need to get water. Suit yourself, Fatebinder. The more you ignore us. Catch the rings. The Archon of Secrets lets out a small chuckle as he leaves. Yeah, no.
The fool and his puppet are gone. Perhaps now I can hear myself think. Rarely do I question Kairos' judgment, but I will never understand why the voices of Narot is given such authority. I shudder to think what will become of us all should Tunon favor him in the end. Though the edict threatens the Scarlet Chorus just as it threatens us, I cannot shake the feeling that our allies will work against us. You've shown your worth in war, and your name has been known to the Legion since the very beginning of this long conquest. So I'd ask that you join us this one last time, to help us wrap up this last objective. If you wish to be counted amongst the glorious, speak with the Iron Marshal. She will direct the order of battle until we are ready for the final push into the Citadel.
I am short a few scouts, short a few soldiers, well, short of a few everything. I'm sure my brethren would be grateful for the assistance of a skilled outsider. And what of the chorus? How will they be helping?
I ask myself that question often. While we take the river crossing, the Scarlet Chorus should be using their sizable presence to remove the Oathbreaker patrols lurking in the outer valley.
The Oathbreakers have maintained a sizable force outside the Citadel. We need the chorus's manpower to scour the region, otherwise the Oathbreakers will attack at our heels once we cross the Matani. I would be honored to help. The Iron Marshal salutes Graven Ash, then turns to leave the tent. I will be at the training grounds, readying the soldiers. Find me there when you're ready. She pauses, clearing her throat. And though I am loath to mention it, the chorus can likely use your assistance. They certainly won't secure the Outer Valley on their own. Fifth Eye will be somewhere in that rat's nest they call a camp. Due east. Seek him out if you must. How did you do that? Oh, no. How did you do that? Verse looks at you with a quizzical expression. Do what? Back in the Archons' war tent, you cast an edict as casually as reading a supply shipment. How did you do that? Well, I've done it before. I don't look stupid. Oh, well, I suppose I do. You were the one who cast the Edict of Storms in Stalwart, didn't you? The one that tore the battlefield apart with the cyclone of Kairos' anger? That was me, all right. Well, call me impressed. Considering you've read the words of Kairos more than once, I'm surprised you were even alive to tell of it. Your vocal cords should be turned to hash by now. Well, to be honest, it kind of feels like it because I'm doing everyone's voices. But anyway. I'm not trying to make you feel uncomfortable. I'm just recognizing what you've done. Not only are you Tunon's Fatebinder, you're also the mouthpiece of the Overlord. Gives me plenty of reason to stick around. You're going places, and I want to see where they lead. Well, if you say so. Talk to Verse later.
Fatebinder Ethan Drake, am I right? I am Civius, Commander and third generation disfavored. Specifically, I'm Civius the Younger. Some folks can't keep track. The rank says Commander, but lately I'm just organizing patrols and trying to stay out of the way. You should talk to the Iron Marshal if you've something official that needs discussing. But what is it that you need? I overheard you asking that Earthshaker where the reinforcements have gone. Is there a problem? I'm afraid so. Radix, head of the Earthshakers, was supposed to arrive with a group of their most competent spellslingers to break the stalemate. I don't know what's holding up their arrival, and that worries me. If you are at all inclined to lend a hand, well, we could definitely use some arcane support on our side. Sure. Could you? I knew that Tunon's agent wouldn't fail us in our time of need. I'll mark the last known site of our Earthshaker reinforcements on your map. Good hunting, Fatebinder.
Why do you think the siege has been delayed for so long?
It should have been over real quick and simple. The first cohort arrived in the valley, went straight for the kill. But that was before we knew the Vendrian God and sages, and that water witch on their side. And the bigger problem, as much as I'm loath to say, or perhaps not, I don't know, is the Scarlet Chorus. They eagerly conscript, doing air quotes, the Vendrian Guard. But I have no proof of this, but it seems they do very little to keep a watchful eye on those drafted tiersmen. They are often sent out on patrol, and we suspect they use that opportunity to escape back to the Vendrian Guard. Every chorus conscript has a choice. Life under Kairos, or death under the army's boots. By all means, feel free to cut down those who would choose the later. We won't be offended. Just so we don't mistake each other, I know what I'm saying carries an implication of treachery. I'm not making a formal accusation before Tunan's agents, just voicing my gut opinion on the matter. The two armies haven't worked together in years, at least not well. Why do you think that is? Come on, Binder. It seems like that's asking why beasts stink. The disfavored are only too eager to deliver Kairos' peace to the tiers, while the chorus brings only mayhem in their wake. You can tell me the sources of Narat has a plan, and I will take your word for it, but the chorus sure seems to blunder around, never moving with the same purpose that our mighty legion does. I wonder if we've been fighting the same war, soldier. I've seen Ash yank his precious soldiers away from battles more than he's won. If you want to call that progress, be my guest. Until we find a way to work as one, I fear the chorus will step in front of Ash's strategies at every turn. As far as I'm concerned, it seems like the Voices of Narat is here to amuse himself, while the rest of us are here doing our jobs. Tell me about yourself. Not much to tell. My father was Cerberus the Elder, his father was Servius first of his name, lead drill master of Ash's first Iron Guard, back when they were the Bronze Guard. I was born into the Legion, and with any hope, I'll die in the Legion. The rest of you will hopefully hear about it when the storytellers immortalize me. He was in the Bronze Guard, so your family must have been with Ash before he was with Kairos. Aye, you know your history. Servius nods with gusto. The blood goes back that far, not the memories, as I only ever knew my father. My grandfather was just a legend. One of Ash's best warriors back before the disfavored were reforged in iron. He shrugs. I'm proud of my heritage, but I try not to brag. There are folks who love the Legion every bit as much as I do, but they lack the same pedigree. You should be proud of it. Thanks, but I try not to think about it too fondly. If anything, every time I screw something up, I wish I wasn't dragging the family name through the mud along with me. Bye-bye. I have better things to do. Like talk to this hulking lunk. Whatever, I'll talk to this. Don't just coddle the impact. Push back with your shield. Take the momentum. Iron Marshal Enros. Irenos. Field commander of the disfavored pounds her fist in the air as she calls out to the warriors on the training field. I said eyes on your opponent's waistline. If you spend more than a glance checking his footwork, you've lost. Disfavored officer turns to you, adjusting her pale golden surcoat as she clears her throat. Yep, the Iron Marshal, blah, blah, blah. Need to stay on top of their troops or their skills will rust. It's good. It's for their own good, even if they don't believe it. I mentioned you were short on warriors and need help. What's the situation? Well, I have brigades amassing along the Placid, Echo Call, and Littletooth crossings. The Vendrian Guard may be able to hold one bridge, but they cannot hold against a concerted three-prong attack. I have no right to give you orders, but her words falter, a short cough breaking her flow. But we all die to Kairos' edict should we fail, so I'm not about to let my pride blind me to the value of good help. This is the second major attack on the river, correct? What happened last time? Defeat in detail. We carved a bloody path up to the river, but at that point everyone who charged ahead was lost. We had no chorus backup, it was just a few disfavored squads. I can't tell you exactly how they were defeated, but we lost a whole assault team. She shakes her head, letting out a long, pained sigh.
We found the bodies washing up on the river for days. It's not often that Tyr's been put up such a good fight. It certainly made us reevaluate the number we need to take the valley.
Really? Are you sure our scouts didn't give you all sorts of details about the enemy and you just chose to disregard our warning?
We can pass blame after the war. Only the Oathbreakers matter now. Quite right. Getting our emotions into the mix won't hasten this campaign. I will assist. Then our plan just might work. The Iron Marshal lifts her gauntlet close to her face, shifting her eyes to you. From you to the metal articulations. We are loath to work with those who do not share our training and our values, but we know that Tunon the Adjudicator selects only the most capable minds of his court, and I trust you will honor us all on the field. Antio will be leading the charge at Echo Hall Crossing. Assisting you will be Beric of the Stone Shields. She points to a heavily armored soldier standing sentry at the edge of the training field. Before you ask, no, the Forgebound weren't sloshed on Dappleseed when they fitted his armor. Before he survived, well, he survived the full force of the Edict of Storms, and this armor doesn't exactly come off. Tactically, it's quite brilliant, but otherwise it's something of a curse. Tapping her helmet twice, Erenios signals to the hulking presence. Beric, come and meet the Fatebinder. A soldier that steps up to you better resembles an amalgamation of rusted blades and mismatched pieces of armor fused to a vaguely humanoid shape. He reeks of sweat, feces, and whatever oil treatment keeps him flexible.
Fatebinder, the Iron Marshal has tasked me with keeping you alive, and I have no intention of disappointing her. That should be enough assurance for anyone.
An honor.
Likewise, good Binder.
The shoulder heaves a heavy iron arm into a salute, his whole body clanging as he wraps his gauntlet against the twisted sheets of metal that form his breastplate.
Beric, is that you under there? I had no idea you were in Vendrian's well. Fatebinder, do you know this walking anchor?
I encountered Beric in the Stalwart campaign. Though he appears much changed, he is an excellent soldier.
You're generous to say so. I'm afraid I left the better part of myself on the killing fields of Stalwart. But it's still in my pride and honor to serve the Legion.
His voice falters. You can't tell if it's hesitation or regret. The Fatebinder will be joining us for the push across the river. I figured an extra hand might help. And more importantly, if my worries come true and the chorus tries to impede the mission, we'll have an observer from the court on our side.
Better to work with the Honorable Binder than some chorus children.
He nods to you, his armor creaking as he bends his neck. I ask that Beric accompany you there to arbitrate the cooperation between, or to arbitrate. English is weird. The cooperation between his company and the Scarlet Chorus. Beric, you've been without a cohort since the Battle of Stalwart. It's time we gave you a task more worthy than hauling wagons and leading training drills. She plants her hand on her hips and speaks in clipped official terms. Ash has assigned me to the Fatebinder's service. You are to assume this task is ongoing until we find a more permanent spot for you, which could very well mean the swiftly approaching end of this war, or when the Fatebinder dismisses you. Is that understood? Beric regards the Iron Marshal in oppressive silence. That's an order, Beric. She shakes her head and sighs, returning her focus to you. Well, he can be stubborn as pulling a spire out of the earth, but he is a good soldier. I hope you don't mind the company. I'd be honored to have a member of the Legion on my side. Well, excellent. I look forward to your success in the field. Let's outfit Beric. And since I am Sword and Shield, I need him to be Blood and Death. Well, actually, Him being a stalwart guardian is actually a little bit better. My sword is technically better, but it has less penetration. So I'll put that in his second slot. Well, other than talking back with them, but I don't really plan on doing that. So I think our mission is done. And I believe that hit roughly an hour. So we got Barrack on our side now. Didn't do any killing. There's a lot of exposition, as you were. But next one we begin making our siege, I suppose. Because at first I want to go and meet up with the Scarlet Chorus and see what they have of me. And then I'm going to go and clear out these side quests. Then I'll go and make my march. So. Oh, that's interesting. It's very interesting. Because the map is actually color-coded by who controls it. So this is Tunon, the Educator, / Kairos' loyal forces, in the black. Scarlet Chorus is obviously red. The disfavored is this bluish-purple. And the Bronze Guard, I believe, are this yellow color. But, as I said, with that, that is the end of this episode. If you enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe. If there's anything you feel like I could do better, anything you kind of want to see change, let me know in the comments. I do also have a podcast that I'm in, a Dungeons and Dragons podcast. Yield D&D. It is, I believe, on Google Play. I know it is on the Apple Podcasting app, where I play a character known as Rovarth Mirax. Episodes that go live every Tuesday. I'm basically a dragonborn, an elderly dragonborn warlock, who is a soldier in the army, and has quite a few surprises up his sleeve. Sort of a surprisingly punchy warlock. In fact, I'm literally about to start recording that with the crew in about, I want to say, an hour from the time of this recording. But, as I said, go and check that out. It is called We Play RPGs. There is a website. There is a Patreon, so if you enjoyed that, do consider checking out our Patreon. It helps us pay our editor. But it's a fun thing, and I greatly enjoy doing it. And there's a few other people. I don't really do an accent that much in it. It's just my normal voice. But there are certain moments. In fact, if not, well, actually, the episode would have been out by now. By the time of posting this, the episode would be out. There are a few moments where, in great emotional distress or turmoil, I do revert to Rovarth's voice, and I'm gonna try and do that a little bit more often. But we'll see. So, anyway, as I said, check that out. Subscribe to this channel as well if you like it, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.